Why is the hardest boundary to set always the one at your parents' dining table? Why does growing as a person make you feel like a traitor in your own home? There is a heavy, unspoken psychological truth behind this. Carl Jung warned that the most painful part of your development is not leaving behind strangers. It is outgrowing the family that raised you. In this video, we look at the 5 signs you are outgrowing your family and how to survive the guilt of finding yourself. Let's look at the first sign, a trap that begins in childhood. 1. The persona of the good child. Imagine you visit your family. A relative looks at you and says, "You used to be so quiet. What happened to you?" You feel a cold knot in your stomach. In that moment, the temptation is to apologize or explain yourself. But silence is often the only response that honors your growth. You are playing a role. That is the persona of the good child. Carl Jung observed that we wear a mask to buy safety. In families, this mask is obedience. What they want is not a child. It is an obedient machine running on guilt. But that is not love. That is a transaction. When you outgrow this role, they call you difficult. But here is the truth. They do not miss the old you. They miss the compliant you. Choosing authenticity over compliance is your first step. 2. The projection of the unlived life. Look at the writer Franz Kafka. His father, a wealthy merchant, spent his life projecting his ambitions onto Kafka, demanding he become a strong lawyer. His father constantly yelled, "You will never be half the man I am." Kafka spent his life trembling in his father's shadow, writing a 100-page letter, detailing the terror of trying to live up to that unlived life. That is a shackle, not love. You feel the heavy weight of their disappointment. The moment you realize their disappointment was never truly about you, something inside you changes. When you look into their eyes, you realize they aren't actually seeing you. They are only seeing their own past. Jung called this the parent's unlived life. When parents refuse to face their own shadows, they project their dreams onto you. They want you to live the life they missed. But that is not guidance. That is ownership. Nietzsche would say they want to use you as their second chance. If you carry their dreams, you bury your own. Living a life to heal your parents' regrets is a slow suicide. 3. The break from the family collective. Let me tell you about Carl Jung's own father. His father was a country parson who lost his faith but clung to religious dogma. He warned young Jung, "Be anything you like except a theologian." He didn't want his son to repeat his tragedy. Yet, family tradition still expected Jung to follow the church. Jung realized that to find his own truth, he had to reject that dogmatic path. It was a brutal break. His father died early, broken by his crisis of faith, and Jung carried the weight of that silence. But Jung knew that staying in that church would have destroyed his soul. The soul cannot compromise. He had to choose his own wilderness. If you look closely, you will see that every family has a collective code, a set of unwritten rules about how to think and live. When you break that code, you become the black sheep. This is the family collective shadow. It rejects any growth that threatens the family balance. If you must choose between their comfort and your truth, choose your truth. The black sheep is often the only one who is awake. 4. The guilt of individuation. You sit at dinner. They discuss gossip. You try to share a deep idea and they roll their eyes. You think you're better than us now. You feel the cold chill of exclusion. But arguing or trying to change their minds only drains your spirit. Sometimes taking a slow breath and accepting the gap between you is the only way to remain whole. This is the guilt of individuation. Jung defined individuation as the journey of shedding expectations to find your true self. When you grow, it exposes their stagnation. Your growth is a mirror, and they hate what they see, so they try to pull you back. They use guilt to keep the group cohesive, but outgrowing someone is not betrayal. It is evolution. You cannot walk your path while carrying their baggage. 5. The choice of the lonely path. Think of the youth of Michelangelo. His father, a government magistrate obsessed with the family's noble status, beat him severely. To stop him from pursuing art which the family viewed as a low-class, shameful manual trade, his father screamed, "Art is for low peasants, you must study law." Despite the physical abuse and family shame, Michelangelo chose the lonely path of his artistic calling. He chose pain for freedom. Eventually, he carved the David and painted the Sistine Chapel. You feel a deep, quiet sadness, but when you sit with that isolation, you realize it is not a punishment. Jung would say this loneliness is necessary. True power begins when you stop looking for your reflection in your parents' eyes. If they cannot see who you are, their opinion of you does not matter. True freedom begins when we stop searching for ourselves in their expectations and reclaim the lives we were meant to live. It is better to choose isolation to protect yourself than to live under their control. Understanding the psychology of family dynamics. Outgrowing your family is not always caused by malicious relatives. It is often a natural symptom of individuation. Your family is operating on a childhood operating system. You have upgraded. Understanding this does not mean you must accept disrespect. It means seeing beyond the family mask. How to react. Stop explaining your life choices. Practice absolute silence in the face of guilt trips. Limit your visits to protect your energy. Build your own chosen family. And above all, forgive yourself for choosing your own path. Perhaps the hardest part of growing up is realizing that your family may never truly understand who you have become. And maturity is learning to love them from a distance, without shrinking yourself to make them comfortable again. Because trying to stay small just to keep their peace is a price you can no longer afford to pay. If you want more videos on human psychology, the philosophy of Carl Jung, and deep personal development, subscribe now. Because understanding the human soul means taking back control of your life.